The arrogance of giants. The Galactic Council's mistake. The Galactic Council chamber floated in the void between stars, a massive structure of crystalline walls and shimmering energy fields. Inside, representatives from 47 civilized species gathered to discuss the newest problem in their perfect universe, humanity. Ambassador Zekthor of the Valdran Empire stood at the central podium. His four arms gestured dramatically as he spoke. The Valdran were an ancient race, their civilization spanning 50,000 years. They had mastered gravity, bent light to their will, and conquered diseases that would make humans weep. To them, humanity was nothing more than children playing with fire. These humans, Zekthor's voice echoed through translation fields, have barely left their birth world. They've existed for mere thousands of years, yet they dare to claim territorial rights to an entire star system. They refuse to join the collective. They refuse our guidance. They actually believe they can stand alone. Laughter rippled through the chamber. The sound came from dozens of different species, each translated into a universal frequency that conveyed pure amusement. To these ancient races, humanity's defiance was adorable, like a newborn creature trying to roar at a predator. Humanity's strange ambassador. Colonel James Torres stood in the defendant's circle, surrounded by beings who could destroy Earth with a thought. His dress uniform looked primitive compared to the flowing energy garments and biomechanical suits around him. He was just a human, made of flesh and bone, nothing special by galactic standards. "You think we're weak," Torres said calmly. His voice was transmitted through the same translation field. "You think because we haven't mastered your technology, we're inferior. That's your first mistake." More laughter. A being of pure energy pulsed with colors that translated to mockery. A crystalline creature's facets gleamed with what could only be condescension. "Human," a soft voice spoke from the shadows. This was Elder Myrith of the Seraphim Collective, beings of such advanced consciousness they rarely bothered with physical form. "We have studied your species. You wage war upon yourselves. You destroy your own planet. You cannot even unite your own people. What makes you think you deserve a voice in galactic affairs?" Torres smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. "You want to know what makes humanity special? It's not our technology. It's not our science. It's something you've all forgotten after countless millennia of peace and prosperity." The warning they ignored. "We know how to fight dirty," Torres continued. "Every species in this chamber evolved to survive. But then you mastered your environments. You eliminated struggle. You created perfect societies where everyone has enough, where conflict is managed by AI mediators, where war is something you study in historical archives." He walked slowly around the circle, meeting the eyes of creatures who had never known true hardship. "But humans? We've been fighting since we climbed down from the trees. We fought predators with sticks and stones. We fought each other over water, land, and ideas. We've survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own stupidity. We're survivors because we had to be. And that makes us dangerous." Zekthor's laugh boomed across the chamber. "Are you threatening the Galactic Council? You, a single species barely capable of faster-than-light travel, threaten 47 civilizations that span 1,000,000 worlds?" "I'm not threatening anyone," Torres replied. "I'm warning you. Stay out of human space. Don't try to claim our systems. Don't attempt to integrate us into your collective. We've asked politely. We've negotiated fairly. But if you push us, if you decide to take what's ours by force, you'll learn why predators shouldn't be underestimated." The decision to teach humanity a lesson. After Torres was dismissed, the council voted. It was unanimous. Humanity needed to be taught respect for their betters. The Valdran Empire would send a peacekeeping fleet to occupy the human colony of New Horizon in the Kepler system. It would be a simple operation, bloodless military occupation to demonstrate the consequences of defiance. "We'll surround their colony with shields," Zekthor explained to his military commanders aboard the flagship Eternal Glory. "Cut off their supplies. Show them how futile resistance is. Within a week, they'll beg to join the collective on any terms we offer. The Valdren fleet consisted of 200 warships, each one larger than anything humanity had built. Their shields could withstand the energy of a small star. Their weapons could vaporize asteroids. They were crewed by soldiers bred for perfection, trained in tactics refined over millennia. The colony of New Horizon. New Horizon was a small mining colony on a frozen moon. 15,000 humans lived there, extracting rare minerals from beneath the ice. They had basic defense satellites and a handful of patrol ships, nothing that could challenge a real military force. Governor Sarah Chen received the message from the approaching Valdren fleet with a calm that surprised her staff. She read the ultimatum aloud: surrender within 24 hours or face occupation by force. They really think we'll just give up, she said quietly. They think we're scared. Her defense coordinator, a grizzled veteran named Marcus Webb, grinned. Should we show them what scared humans look like? Sarah accessed the emergency military channel, the one that connected directly to Earth's Defense Command. This is New Horizon Colony. We have hostile forces inbound. Requesting immediate activation of Protocol Prometheus. The reply came back instantly: Protocol Prometheus authorized. Godspeed, Governor. What the Valdren didn't know. As the Valdren fleet settled into orbit around New Horizon, their sensors detected nothing unusual. The colony's shields were up but weak. Their patrol ships had retreated to defensive positions. Everything suggested a population preparing to surrender. Zekthor stood on his command deck, surrounded by holographic displays showing the tactical situation. Open a channel to the colony. Let's accept their surrender with grace. But Governor Chen's response wasn't surrender. Ambassador Zekthor, you've made a terrible mistake. Humanity tried to warn you. We tried to tell you that we're different. That we think differently. Fight differently. But you didn't listen. Your posturing is meaningless, Zekthor replied. You have no fleet. No weapons that can threaten us. Surrender now and avoid bloodshed. Bloodshed? Sarah's laugh was cold. You're right about one thing. We don't have weapons like yours. We don't have ships that can match yours in direct combat. But what we do have is something you've forgotten in your thousands of years of civilized warfare. The Valdren sensor operators suddenly started reporting anomalies. Small objects were launching from the moon's surface, hundreds of them, moving too fast for the automated defenses to track effectively. We have creativity born from desperation, Sarah continued. We have tactics you've never seen because you've never needed them. And we have something you lost long ago: the willingness to do whatever it takes to survive. The small objects reached the Valdren fleet and detonated. They weren't conventional explosives. They were fusion mines, each one containing enough explosive power to crack a small planet, deployed in a pattern that looked random but was actually calculated by human tactical AI trained on thousands of years of warfare, the price of underestimation. When the giants fell. The first explosion tore through the Valdren formation like a hammer through glass. Zekthor watched in horror as 3 of his capital ships simply vanished, consumed by fusion fire that burned hotter than any weapon in the Galactic Collective's arsenal. Shields, he screamed, but the command was unnecessary. His officers were already routing maximum power to defensive systems. The problem was that human weapons weren't designed to be stopped by energy shields. They were designed to go around them, through them, or simply overwhelm them with raw destructive force. More mines detonated in sequence, each explosion carefully timed to catch ships while their shields were recovering from the previous blast. It was brutal, efficient, and utterly ruthless. In 3 minutes, the Valdren fleet lost 47 ships. Return fire. Zekthor ordered. Destroy that colony. But when the Valdren weapons systems locked onto New Horizon, they found nothing to target. The colony was gone. Not destroyed, evacuated. Every human had retreated into underground bunkers that ran kilometers deep into the moon's core, protected by layers of ice and rock that would take hours to penetrate. The trap springs shut. They knew we were coming, Zekthor's tactical officer reported. They prepared this ambush weeks ago. Admiral, we're not fighting a colony. We're fighting a military operation. More warning alarms sounded. Human ships were emerging from behind the moon, dozens of them, small and fast, each one carrying enough missiles to cripple a Valdran cruiser. They weren't trying to match the Empire's ships in size or power. They were using swarm tactics, overwhelming targeting systems with sheer numbers. These aren't colony patrol craft, Zekthor realized with growing dread. These are military vessels disguised as civilian ships. They've been planning this. A human voice cut through the communication channels. This is Admiral Patricia Ono of the Earth Defense Fleet. You wanted to teach humanity a lesson, Ambassador. Allow us to return the favor. The human ships moved with a coordination that shocked the Valdran commanders. They struck from multiple angles, used the moon's gravity well for cover, deployed electronic warfare systems that jammed Valdran sensors, and fought with a ferocity that civilized species had forgotten. Learning to fear. Back at the Galactic Council chamber, representatives watched the battle through real-time feeds. The laughter had stopped. The mockery had died. They were witnessing something they had never seen in their lifetimes, a numerically inferior force destroying a superior enemy through sheer tactical brilliance and unlimited aggression. Elder Myrith spoke into the silence. They're not fighting by collective rules. They're not trying to minimize casualties or preserve enemy vessels for capture. They're trying to kill everything that threatens them. A Valdran destroyer broke apart under sustained missile fire. Human fighters swarmed over a cruiser like insects, each one firing railguns that punched through armor the way ancient humans had once stabbed with spears. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't civilized. It was effective. How are they doing this? Someone whispered. Their technology is inferior. Their weapons are primitive. Because they're not relying on technology alone, Torres said from his position at the edge of the chamber. He had stayed to watch, knowing this moment would come. They're using imagination, unpredictability, and a willingness to sacrifice. Those Valdran ships are crewed by beings who expect to return home. Our pilots? They'll ram their ships into yours if that's what it takes to win. The withdrawal. Within 6 hours, Zekthor made the hardest decision of his military career. All ships, retreat to jump distance. We're withdrawing from human space. He had lost 73 ships out of 200. Thousands of Valdran soldiers were dead or captured. The humans had lost twice as many ships, but they kept fighting, kept pressing, kept finding new ways to hurt an enemy that should have crushed them effortlessly. As the Valdran fleet limped away, Governor Chen's message followed them. Tell your council what happened here. Tell them that humans don't bluff. Tell them that we'll defend what's ours with everything we have. And tell them that if they come back, we'll be ready with weapons they can't even imagine. The galaxy learns. 3 days later, the Galactic Council reconvened. This time, there was no laughter when humanity's name was mentioned. The recordings from New Horizon had spread across 1,000 worlds. Everyone had seen what happened when ancient, powerful civilizations underestimated a young, aggressive species. We should destroy them now, some argued. Before they become a real threat. Send 100 fleets, not just one. But Elder Myrith disagreed. If we do that, we prove their point. That we're tyrants who crush anyone who refuses to submit. Besides, do you really want to fight a species that turns every battle into a bloodbath? That refuses to accept defeat? That learns from every engagement and comes back stronger? The debate raged for hours, but in the end, a new resolution passed. Human space would be designated as independent territory. No species would attempt to claim human systems without explicit permission. Humanity would be granted full membership in the Galactic Council with all rights and protections. The human response. When Ambassador Torres received the news, he showed no triumph. Just tired satisfaction. Tell the Council we accept their terms. But also tell them this, we didn't want to fight. We asked politely to be left alone. Everything that happened was because they forced our hand. He paused, then added, humanity has a saying, don't start a fight, but always finish it. We'll be good neighbors to those who treat us with respect. But anyone who mistakes our desire for peace as weakness will learn the same lesson the Baldrun did. 20 years later. The galaxy changed after New Horizon. Other young species saw what humanity had done and found courage to assert their own independence. The old empires learned to negotiate rather than dictate. War didn't disappear, but the ancient civilizations remembered what it meant to face an enemy who fought with everything they had. In the Kepler system, New Horizon grew from a mining colony into a thriving city. They built a monument to commemorate the battle, a simple stone carved with the names of every human pilot who died defending their home. Tourists from 100 worlds came to see it, to understand what had happened there. The legacy. Governor Chen, retired now, sometimes gave tours to visiting delegations. They always asked the same question, how did you beat them? Her answer never changed. We didn't beat them through superior technology or numbers. We beat them because they forgot something important. Every species in the galaxy evolved to survive, but most of them reached a point where survival became easy. They forgot what it means to fight for existence. Humans never forgot. We carry millions of years of struggle in our DNA. We remember what it's like to be prey, to be hungry, to face extinction. That memory makes us dangerous. She would smile then, not with arrogance but with simple truth. The Baldrun came to teach us a lesson. Instead, they learned one: never underestimate a species that climbed to the top of the food chain on a planet that tried to kill them every single day. We're survivors. And survivors do whatever it takes. The warning stands. Across the galaxy, humanity's message was clear. We want peace. We want cooperation. We want to learn from older, wiser species and contribute to galactic civilization. But we'll defend what's ours with savage determination. We'll innovate, adapt, and overcome any threat. We'll turn our weaknesses into strengths and our desperation into victory. The Council had laughed at humanity's warning. They wouldn't make that mistake again. None of them would. Because they had learned what humans had known all along: sometimes the most dangerous predator isn't the biggest or strongest. Sometimes it's the one hungry enough, desperate enough, and clever enough to find a way to win against impossible odds. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy, a reminder that survival isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about refusing to quit even when defeat seems certain. It's about looking at impossible odds and saying, watch me anyway. The stars belong to everyone now. But human space remained human, defended by a species that had warned the galaxy once and wouldn't need to warn them again.